Welcome into the 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr. Appreciate all of you for tuning into today's program. Coming your way on today's show, latest Niners injury news. We have a Charles Omenihu update after he was arrested on Monday night. And also, we're going to continue to break down this awesome NFC Championship tilt, a heavyweight bout between San Francisco and Philadelphia. Before we do get started, though, make sure you subscribe to the show. This has been an unbelievable season right here on the 49ers Report in terms of views, our watch party numbers, our audience participation, and us continuing to grow to give you videos every single day as the one-stop shop for all things Niners all throughout the year. 85 people away from 77,000 subscribers. Can we get there with this show? Hit that subscribe button and lock us in. And I know that we have a great matchup on the actual field in South Philadelphia on Sunday for the right to play in Super Bowl 57. We also have a great sub-battle here inside the walls of Chat Sports. I do host both of these shows. Some people want to rip me for it, but I'll tell you this. I've watched every single snap of the 49ers and Eagles this year. Nobody better out there to help get you ready for kickoff than yours truly. If you want to continue to own Philadelphia Eagles now, you can do it. Channel about double the size. Once again, please make sure you subscribe. 49ers injury report here on this Wednesday. It's busy, it's long, and it certainly does include some notable names on this 49ers roster. Christian McCaffrey not practicing today because of that calf injury we've been talking about all week. Deebo Samuel was listed as a non-participant in practice, but he said, you know what? I feel like I'm okay with my ankle injury. He was seen in a limited fashion on the practice field. Elijah Mitchell didn't practice because of a groin. Jimmy Garoppolo with an ankle. Ambry Thomas was a limited participant with his ankle injury. And I understand there are a lot of key players here who are huge to the 49ers' success on Sunday against a very good Eagles team. No need to panic, though. 49ers were 14-3 in the regular, or 13-4 in the regular season. Now they have 15 wins. They've played 2 playoff games. Nobody in the NFL is healthy this time of year. That is the realistic nature of playing this deep into the playoffs. As for the latest on Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyle Shanahan saying he had an x-ray on his foot on Tuesday. Shanahan does not expect Jimmy G to practice this week. It continues to be more and more likely that Josh Johnson will be the backup for Brock Purdy. And if the Niners do punch their ticket to Glendale, Arizona by beating Philly, then maybe Jimmy Garoppolo could be the backup for San Francisco. As for Deebo Samuel, said his ankle is very sore. If you remember, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers several weeks ago, he did suffer that freakish injury to his knee as well as his ankle. He said, no worries, there is no doubt that I'm going to be on the field. Now, a couple of weeks ago against Seattle, I thought that Deebo looked terrific with the pull-away speed, him turning on the afterburners he hit, just that different edge on that breakaway touchdown, 70-plus yards from Brock Purdy. Didn't do a lot against the Dallas Cowboys, but his implementation into the game plan here, even using him as a disguised weapon, going to be important with how well the Eagles' defense is playing, some of the juggernauts on that side of the ball for Philadelphia, and how important it is to have Deebo confuse the opposition with using him as a wide receiver in the slot, outside, as well as in the backfield by himself, or even with Christian McCaffrey. Again, he was on the practice field today. That's a very good sign for his status. As for the latest on Charles Omenihu, as we continue to keep it moving, arrested on Monday, in case you didn't know, on suspicion of misdemeanor domestic violence. His girlfriend alleged that he pushed her to the ground during an argument, and when police observed her, they did not see any physical injuries. So we'll see what happens on that front. Of course, it is a legal matter. Charles Omenihu did return to practice for the Niners on Wednesday, and Shanahan did say that he is most likely going to play in the NFC Championship game, which from a football perspective is obviously pretty important for the Niners because he's been a very valuable depth defensive lineman for this team. As for what exactly Kyle Shanahan said about Omenihu, quote, we're letting the legal process take care of itself, so if he's healthy, he'll play this week. We've looked into it the last 48 hours, not only himself, but other people. We don't feel we should kick him off our team at this time, and the NFL also did not levy a suspension on Omenihu either. For what he's done this year, he's been really good considering that he's not a full-time player. He's more of a rotational piece so you can play at defensive end and defensive tackle. And since getting acquired by San Francisco from the Houston Texans at the NFL trade deadline in 2021 looked as though that maybe he was going to be a fringe roster type of player with Houston. He's ended up being a lot more than that. Made some huge plays against the Cowboys in the wild card round 2 years ago in 2021, during the 2021 season, I should say. And then against the Seahawks in the wild card round this year, 2.5 sacks and that forced fumble. In the regular season, 4.5 sacks for Omenihu. That's a career high with 54 pressures, 39 hurries, 10 quarterback hits. The best way to really encapsulate what he does, he really is just a disruptor outside and on the interior of this defensive line for San Francisco. And this Eagles offensive line against the 49ers defensive line. It's a huge matchup. And now we know that Charles Omenihu probably going to play in this football game. This is a matchup that we've been talking about all week between a position group with Philly's offensive line that's probably the best in the NFL against one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. This game could be decided in the trenches. Now, if you're loving this 49ers playoff push, show us in the comments section. We want to hear from the faithful. Type bang bang down below. This has been a magical ride, folks. You start off 3-4, confusing losses early. You lose to the Bears week 1, Broncos, Atlanta Falcons. You get crushed by the Chiefs in an embarrassing game for the Niners. From that point, they've been the hottest team in football, have not lost, and it has been so fun to cover this squad. The 49ers report today and our playoff coverage is sponsored by Athletic Greens, a brand new sponsor here at Chat Sports that means a lot to me. I take AG1 every single day, and the health benefits are really drastic as part of my daily process, and you can get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I gave AG1 a try originally because given my work schedule at Chat Sports combined with my training regimen, as I'm on a mission to run every single day for a year straight, I'm at about 250 straight days right now. I needed and wanted sustained energy to stay healthy by keeping my immune system intact so that I can strive toward those professional work life, giving you videos every single day, goals, as well as my personal fitness goals. I take AG1 every morning as part of my routine, and it really does set the table for the rest of my day. It's helped improve my gut health. It's boosted my energy, supports my immune system, helps me recover since I'm putting such a toll on my body. I do in my daily life try to steer clear of chemicals and harsh ingredients. That's why I love AG1, and it's 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients. I just simply mix 1 small scoop of AG1 with water. I drink it first thing in each morning or before and after my workouts. I also love that something that's this good for you and prioritizing your health and wellness costs less than $3 a day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D, which could also keep your immune system in place. Really was important according to studies during COVID and combating the coronavirus, and still remains that to be true. 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So head to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. That's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Check it out. Link is available in the comment section as well as the description of this video. And the packaging is also awesome. That's how you know that this company is legit. As for the latest Eagles injury news here, Nick Sirianni saying everybody on that roster going to be out on the practice field today. Nick Sirianni also hopeful that one of the best slot corners in the NFL, Avonte Maddox, who suffered a toe injury on Christmas Eve, can play on Sunday as well. And the big news for Philly's offense, A.J. Brown expected to be on the practice field for a team that has relied on him a lot as he's compiled nearly 1,500 receiving yards this year. He did address the media in the locker room today and said, look, I was a little bit banged up. No worries. I will be out there for Sunday's game. You can expect me to be on the field and have it on and popping for this Eagles offense. And for the Niners defense and their secondary, big matchup going up against this Eagles receiving core. But first, let's talk about Avonte Maddox here before we get to that aforementioned matchup and more. Avonte Maddox being back, big deal for the Eagles because the 49ers are so stacked offensively. And Avonte Maddox is a very good slot corner. And when you think about Kyle Shanahan's usage of some of his weapons in this offense, he likes to use Brandon Ayuk as well as Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and even Christian McCaffrey out of that slot position. So if the Eagles are without Avonte Maddox, that is an edge for San Francisco to exploit. And Maddox being back also gives Philadelphia a little bit more depth on that defense, because that then means that C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who tied for the league high in interceptions this year in the regular season with 6, can go back to safety, and Philadelphia can kind of combat the Niners' passing game by dropping back some more defensive backs in coverage. As for A.J. Brown, let's circle back to him, because I want to talk a little bit about this matchup between the Niners' defense, their secondary in particular, as well as A.J. Brown. Going to be a tall task, and the Cowboys did not have the depth of options in the passing game that Philadelphia has. They have C.D. Lamb. Noah Brown's their number 2. Michael Gallup, coming off the torn ACL, really was just okay. They had to sign T.Y. Hilton off the street late in the year. Cowboys aren't the Eagles offensively, and Jalen Hurts has been playing better than Dak Prescott for the entire season. A.J. Brown, so good. 1,500 receiving yards this year on 88 catches. Devontae Smith, also fantastic. 95 grabs. He was used a lot for nearly 1,200 yards. And Dallas Goedert against this linebacking core, against Jimmy Ward, against this entire defense as a whole. San Francisco going to have to lock him down as well. Basically has the same type of game as George Kittle. And the 49ers cornerbacks, they have come under scrutiny over the last few weeks, because a lot of fans, and we've seen it play out, have some questions about how Deommodore Lenoir and Charvarius Ward can hold up in coverage. To Lenoir's credit, he's been better. I've defended him. He has 2 interceptions in his last 2 games. His instincts have been pretty good. He's held up well in coverage. Earlier in the year, I thought he played fantastic against Cooper Kupp when Cooper Kupp was healthy. Charvarius Ward, considering the money that the Niners are paying him, been a little bit inconsistent. He got toasted by DK Metcalf in the wild card round, but when he's on, he can play well. When he's not, we saw it in the NFC Championship game last year, Jamar Chase cooked him. And for Jimmy Ward, a traditional safety, who I think is actually added to his value, bumping down to nickel, playing in the slot, and playing very well indeed. More Eagles injury news that is important for this football game as well. Lane Johnson, he has this abductor strain. He's going to have to get surgery after the year. Because of that injury, he missed the last couple of weeks of the regular season. Eagles got that bye week. He was able to rest up a little bit, returned last week, and was really good. Limited participant in practice, but he's going to be matched up against Nick Bosa. And if you are an offensive lineman nerd and a defensive lineman and pass rushing nerd, it's one of the best matchups you can dream of. Nick Bosa, future Hall of Famer, all-around stud if he stays healthy, against Lane Johnson, best right tackle in the game, and probably a future Hall of Famer. Lane Johnson's been great this year. Nick Bosa's been great this year. Who's going to win this battle? Can't wait to watch it play out. 18.5 sacks this year for Bosa. That ranked number 1 in the NFL. He had 90 pressures, according to Pro Football Focus, on top of 48 quarterback hits. His overall grade and pass rush grade checking in at a shade under 91. Pro Football Focus run defense grade at 81, 39 stops, and he has been named a finalist to win Defensive Player of the Year. And what's going to give? Bosa against Lane Johnson, otherwise known as the Lane Train, because Lane Johnson has not given up a sack, miraculously enough, in 2 seasons. Total snaps in the regular season, 972. Pass blocking snaps, 551, and with that, 0 sacks allowed, 0 hits allowed, and only 9 pressures. Also, what San Francisco could look to do with Bosa is not line him up against Lane Johnson. You try to take advantage of the other tackle in Jordan Mailata, who's still really good. I don't care what the numbers say. Turn on the tape. He's a very good right tackle, or left tackle, in this game. But because Lane Johnson is so good, and because D'Amico Ryans likes to have Bosa line up on both lines of the scrimmage, check out for a matchup Bosa against Mailata, another matchup to watch. Now, as I said a little bit earlier, I cover the Eagles for Eagles Now and the 49ers for the 49ers Report. Nobody better equipped to talk about this matchup this week than yours truly, so feel free to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. And let's continue to really preview this game between San Francisco and Philadelphia. What a battle it is going to be, because the Eagles' strengths up against what the 49ers do well are paramount and evident on both sides of the ball. For instance, how about this Eagles offense against this Niners defense? Eagles offensive rankings this year, they have really just been tremendous. Points per game averaging almost 29 points per game. Second in the NFL this year. Yards per game, number 3 in the league. Points per play, third in the league. Third down conversion rate, they're good. They converted on 47+% of their third down. San Francisco, a little bit weak in that area. Something to, of course, monitor here. Fourth down conversion percentage. Nick Sirianni likes to go for it a lot. Kyle Shanahan on the offensive side of the ball, a little bit more measured in what he likes to do in terms of his aggressiveness. But Philadelphia, they converted on nearly 69% of their fourth down conversions. Red zone scoring percentage, third in the NFL. Touchdowns per game, almost 4. It's almost 28 points per game. Like we showed you, that was number 1 in the NFL. So you match up what Philadelphia does well, especially with their rushing offense, almost 5 yards per carry, with what the Niners do well. And this is going to be a matchup that could be one of the best NFC Championship games of all time because of all of the star-studded talent that we're seeing across this entire roster, but the strengths of each team basically complementing what the other team does well too. And as for this Niners defense, 49ers have allowed a score on less than 27% of all drives this year. A score. We're not just talking touchdowns. We're talking touchdowns and field goals. That is the lowest in the NFL since 2019. This 49ers defense is special. They can become even more special if they put the clamps on this explosive Eagles offense. We'll round out with this. Kyle Shanahan, some players on this roster getting recognized for the NFL awards list. Kyle Shanahan has been named a finalist to win Coach of the Year. Now, this graphic was misleading because this is according to the NFL AP Coach of the Year. There are 3 finalists. It's Kyle Shanahan, Brian Daboll, as well as Doug Peterson. As for Nick Bosa, a finalist to win Defensive Player of the Year, alongside Micah Parsons, who I think Bosa was better than throughout this year, and Chris Jones. And as for Christian McCaffrey, he was named a finalist to win Comeback Player of the Year. So Christian McCaffrey on that list. And then Brock Purdy, a finalist to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. This has become somewhat controversial, right? Because Brock Purdy made 6 starts in the regular season, and Kenneth Walker for the Seahawks played a lot. So too did Garrett Wilson. I don't know how Chris Olave didn't get on there. But Purdy, at the league's most important position, went 6-0. He completed 68% of his passes, played really good football and meaningful football at the most difficult position to play. So Brock Purdy, a finalist to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and of course Christian McCaffrey, a finalist for Comeback Player of the Year for compiling nearly 2,000 all-purpose yards all throughout this year. Before we hop on out of here for this segment, Bang Bang Niner Gang, subscribe today. We've had you covered all throughout the week with the best coverage leading up to kickoff, so hit that subscribe button. And as always, we appreciate all of you for watching the 49ers Report.